It is 2 in the morning. The whole house is asleep, and then you hear it come through the wall. A low hiss, a gurgle, and then that long, slow, filling sound from the bathroom down the hall. Your toilet just ran, all by itself. Nobody has touched it since 10 o'clock last night. People call that a ghost flush, phantom flush, haunted toilet. I have heard them all, and I will tell you right now, there is nothing in that bathroom but water and rubber. What you are actually listening to is your water meter. Your toilet has been quietly leaking down into the bowl for hours, and when the tank finally drops low enough, the valve kicks on and tops it back off. That refill is the only part loud enough for you to notice. So it is not haunting you. It is telling you something. And between you and me, most folks hear that sound for 2 years before they do anything about it. They pay for every one of those 2 years. I have spent right around 30 years in residential plumbing. My Uncle Ray got me started, and the way he taught me is the way I am going to teach you. The problem, why it happens, and the exact fix with real parts and real sizes. So here is my promise for the next few minutes. You are going to learn how to prove what your toilet is doing, for free, using 10 drops of food coloring and about 20 minutes of doing nothing at all. Then you are going to learn the 4 things it could be, in the order a service plumber would check them. Not random order, the order that finds it fastest. And every one of those 4 fixes runs somewhere between nothing at all and $15. 2 of them take no tools whatsoever. 9 times out of 10, you are done before your coffee goes cold. One more thing before we start, because it is going to come back around. There is a common household item sitting in the tank of a whole lot of American houses right now that eats flappers alive and cuts their life down by years. I am going to name it near the end of this video. And I would bet you a cup of coffee that some of you watching have one in your tank tonight and no idea it is doing damage. Before we get into the diagnosis, 1 minute, because you ought to know where this kind of knowledge comes from. It was never written down. It got handed off truck to truck, and when the old hands retired, it went quiet with them. That is what the digital book, 101 Ways to Unclog Any Drain, was gathered up for. You keep it on your phone, and it walks every drain in the house. Kitchen sink and disposal, bathroom sink, tub and shower, the toilet, laundry and floor drains, and the main line. The toilet section is the same porcelain you are standing over tonight, just the business end. Hold your phone camera up to the code on your screen. Do not tap anything. Just hold steady until a little bar slides up, then touch it. Or the link is sitting down in the description. No hurry. Pause me. Come back when you are ready. The toilet will still be leaking. All right, let us go find out what your tank is actually doing. First, take the lid off the tank and look inside, because you cannot follow a word of this until you know what you are looking at. Be careful with that lid. It is heavy porcelain. It is worth more than everything else in there put together, and it will crack on a hard edge. Lay it flat on a folded towel. Now look down at the bottom of the tank. You will see a rubber stopper on a hinge, about the size of a coaster, sitting over a big round hole. That is your flapper. Its whole job is to sit down on that hole and seal it, so the water in the tank stays in the tank until you push the handle. Off to the side of it, you will see the fill valve. That is the tall plastic tower with a float on it, and its job is to shut the water off when the tank comes up full. Now here is what a ghost flush actually is. That flapper gets old. The rubber gets stiff, or it warps out of shape, or a little grit works its way under the edge of it. And when it stops sealing perfect, Water starts creeping past it, down into the bowl, one drop at a time. No noise, no splash, nothing you could hear standing right next to it. So the tank level drops a little, then a little more. The float rides that water down, and when it drops far enough, the fill valve decides the tank is low and kicks on to top it off. That is your ghost. That refill right there. And here is the part people skip. That leak is not only happening at night, it is running at 2 in the afternoon just the same. You simply cannot hear it over the television and the dishwasher and the dog. At 2 in the morning, the house finally gets quiet enough for the leak to announce itself. So let us talk about what that costs you, because this is where folks stop calling it a ghost and start calling it what it is. The EPA puts a running toilet at up to 200 gallons of water a day. 200. That is a bathtub filled 7 or 8 times over every single day, going straight down the drain and doing nothing for anybody. Now stretch that across a year. Depending on what your town charges, you are looking at hundreds of dollars. And in a lot of places, your sewer charge gets calculated off your water usage, so you can end up paying for that same water twice. Once coming in and once going out. I have walked into houses where a fellow is standing there with a water bill $60 over normal, convinced there is a busted pipe under the slab. Most of the time, it was a $5 piece of rubber that quit sealing. That is the whole message the ghost is delivering. It is not spooky. It is arithmetic. Now, before you go buy a single part, prove it. And this test is free. You need food coloring. Any color but yellow, because yellow will not show against clear water. Red, blue, green, whatever is in the cupboard. If you do not have any, call your water utility. A lot of them will mail you leak detection dye tablets for nothing, because they would rather not treat water you are flushing away. Here is how it goes. Take the lid off. Put about 10 drops of food coloring straight into the tank water. Not the bowl, the tank. Swirl it with your hand so it spreads out. That water is clean supply water, same as comes out of your kitchen faucet, so do not be shy about reaching in. Now set the lid back on and walk away. Do not flush. Do not let anybody else in the house flush either. The best time to run this is right before bed or right after everybody leaves in the morning. Wait 15 minutes. 30 is better. Then come back and look in the bowl. If that water in the bowl has picked up any color at all, even a faint tint you have to squint at, your flapper is leaking. There is no other way for that dye to get from the tank to the bowl. That is a conviction. No appeal. If the bowl is still clear after a full 30 minutes, hang on to that because it tells you something too. I will give you exactly what it means when we get to step 4. Now let us fix it. Cheapest first. Step 1. The chain. I know you want to run out and buy a flapper. Do not do it yet. Because the number one reason a perfectly good flapper leaks has nothing to do with the flapper. Look at that little chain running from the flush handle arm down to the flapper. That chain has to have some slack in it. About a ½ inch is right. Enough that it hangs with a small curve in it when the flapper is closed and sitting down. If that chain is too short, or somebody hooked it up too tight, it is holding the flapper a hair off its seat all day long. Not enough for you to see with your eye. Plenty enough to leak. And if it is too long, that extra chain will loop down and get pinched underneath the flapper when it drops. Same result, other direction. So reach in and look. Unhook the clip from the handle arm and move it 1 link up or down until you get that ½ inch of slack. If there is extra chain hanging past the clip, cut it off or fold it back so it cannot get under anything. Then watch the flapper drop a couple of times and make sure it lands square on the seat, not crooked and not hanging up on the chain. Cost of that fix? Nothing. Time? About 90 seconds. And I will tell you, I have killed more ghost flushes with a chain adjustment than most people would believe. Step 2. Clean the seat. If the chain was right and it is still leaking, the next suspect is still not the flapper. It is what the flapper is sitting on. That ring around the hole in the bottom of the tank is called the flush valve seat. It has to be smooth for rubber to seal against it. And over the years, it collects mineral scale, little bits of grit, and a slimy film. Any one of those will hold the flapper up just enough to let water slip past, and it will fool you into buying a part you did not need. Here is how you clean it. Reach under the tank on the wall side and find the shutoff valve on the supply line. Usually a small oval handle shaped a bit like a football. Turn it clockwise until it stops. If yours is a quarter turn with a straight lever, turn that lever crossways to the pipe. Flush and hold the handle down to drain the tank as far as it will go. Sponge out the last inch if you want it good and dry. Now take a green scrub pad, the kitchen kind, and go around that seat ring with your thumb behind the pad. Firm, even pressure, all the way around, a couple of times. Then run your bare fingertip around the ring and feel for nicks or pits. No harsh chemicals. No steel wool. You are not trying to grind anything down. You are just getting it clean. Turn the water back on, let it fill, and run your dye test one more time. Cost? Nothing again. And 9 times out of 10, if grit was your problem, that is the end of the story. Step 3. Replace the flapper. Chain was right. Seat was clean. Still leaking. Now it really is the flapper, and now we go spend $5. First thing, measure before you shop. Most older toilets use a 2-inch flush valve. A lot of the newer high-efficiency ones use a 3-inch. They are not interchangeable, and that is an easy thing to get wrong standing in the aisle. So measure that opening, or better yet, take the old flapper with you. To get it off, shut the water off under the tank, same as before. Flush and hold to empty it. Unhook the chain from the handle arm. Then look at the sides of the overflow tube, that open plastic pipe standing straight up in the middle of the tank, and you will see 2 little pegs. The flapper has 2 ears that slide onto them. Slide them off. Some flappers use a ring that slips down over the tube instead. Same idea, just lift it off. At the store you have got 2 choices. Match the brand if you can. Kohler, American Standard, Toto, Glacier Bay. Some of them use a shape that only their own flapper fits right. If you cannot match it, buy an adjustable universal flapper, $5 to $10. They are built to work across a whole range of toilets, and most of them have a little dial on the side to set how long the flush runs. Installing it is just the reverse. Ears onto the pegs, hook the chain back on the handle arm with that ½ inch of slack, and watch it drop flat a couple of times. Turn the water on. Let it fill. Then run one last dye test to confirm you actually killed it, because guessing is how you end up doing this twice. 5 minutes, no tools, $5. That is the whole job. Step 4. The fill valve. Now this one is for the folks whose dye test came back clean. You waited the full 30 minutes. The bowl stayed clear, and that toilet is still cycling on in the middle of the night. Take the lid off and look at the overflow tube again. Get down low and look at the top edge of it. If you see water trickling down into that tube, there is your answer. The tank can never get full, because water is spilling over into the overflow and running down to the bowl. So the fill valve never shuts off clean, or it shuts off and starts right back up a few minutes later. 2 causes for that. 1. The water level is simply set too high. The water line in that tank should sit about an inch below the top of the overflow tube, not level with it, below it. Most fill valves have either a plastic screw on top that you turn or a little clip on a rod that you pinch and slide down. Bring that level down an inch and see if the trickling quits. 2. The fill valve itself has worn out and will not shut off clean anymore. You can usually hear that one. A hiss that will not quit, or a short burst of filling every 10 or 15 minutes. A new fill valve runs about $10 to $15 and takes maybe 15 minutes. Water off, tank drained, nut off underneath. Old one out, new one in, set the height, done. Most come with decent instructions, and here is the part people skip. If you are already replacing the fill valve on a toilet 15 or 20 years old, buy the flapper at the same time and change them both. You have got the water off and your hands wet anyway. Both parts together, you are still under $25. Now, I told you I would name it. Those tablets, the blue ones, the bleach pucks, the drop it in the tank and forget about it. Deodorizers that turn your tank water that swimming pool color. Between you and me, they are the single biggest reason I see flappers warp and go stiff before their time. Think about what you are doing there. You are putting a chunk of concentrated chlorine into a tank of standing water and leaving it sitting against rubber 24 hours a day. The flapper, the tank to bowl gaskets, the seals inside the fill valve, all of it soaking every day for months. Rubber does not care for that at all. It hardens, it swells, it loses its shape. A flapper that should have given you 5 or 6 good years starts leaking at 18 months. And I will tell you something else. Go read the warranty on most of the major toilet brands. In tank cleaners will void it. That is not me talking. That is the manufacturer telling you. So if you want a clean bowl, clean the bowl. A brush and a little cleaner, 2 minutes a week. Do not go marinating the working parts of your toilet to save yourself the trouble. Now let me be straight with you about where all this stops. If you have run all 4 steps and that toilet is still ghosting, or you are seeing water on the floor around the base, or the 2 bolts holding the tank onto the bowl are weeping, that is past what I have covered here. Water at the base usually means the wax ring underneath, and that is a bigger afternoon than a flapper. And anything out past the toilet into the main sewer line, anything that needs a permit pulled, anything involving gas that belongs to a licensed plumber. I have made my whole living off this work, and I will still tell you that plain. Knowing where your line is drawn is part of the trade. One more thing before I let you go, and this one covers your whole house, not just the toilet. Go find your water meter. Usually in a box in the ground near the street or in the basement where the line comes in. Write down every digit you see, including the little sweep hand or the triangle if yours has one. Now have everybody stay off the water for 2 hours. No laundry, no dishwasher, no ice maker, nothing. Come back and read it again. If that number moved even a hair, you have got water leaving your system somewhere. That is the cheapest whole house leak test there is, and it costs nothing but 2 hours of patience. Do it once a year and you will catch things while they are still small. So there it is, a $5 piece of rubber standing between you and a few $100s a year running down the drain in the dark. Your toilet is not haunted. It has been trying to tell you something for a good while now, and tonight you finally know how to answer it. And listen, if you can pull a flapper off 2 pegs, You can handle just about anything else under this roof that drains. 1 Ho. Ways to Unclog Any Drain is the digital book that covers the rest of it. Every drain you own. The kitchen sink, the disposal, the bathroom, the tub, the shower, the toilet, the laundry, the floor drains, and yes, the main line itself. Most of those fixes use what is already sitting under your cabinet right now. Point your camera at the code on the screen and give it a second. Or grab the link waiting in the description, whichever is easier on you, and subscribe to The Vintage Pipe Fitter for more old-school plumbing. Know how that keeps real money in your pocket every week. Next time out, I am going to show you the right way to set a toilet back down when you pull one. Wax ring against the newer rubber gaskets, and which one I actually trust after all these years. Take care of that tank. I will see you on the next one.